The world runs on secrets and signals. We decode both. You're watching Next Level Studio. A billionaire just bought a piece of the U.S. military. The Pentagon took the money. The president called him a patriot. But here's what they're not telling you. This man has spent over $150 million funding political campaigns. He's written racist manifestos. His family once controlled America's economy, and now he owns a debt from our soldiers. If you think this is just a feel-good donation story, you're about to have your mind blown. Don't go anywhere. Stop scrolling right now, because what I'm about to tell you sounds like fiction, but it's happening in America today. In the next 12 minutes, you're going to discover how a single family has manipulated American politics for 100 years. The one illegal loophole the Pentagon used to accept blood money. Why your tax dollars might never fund the military again. And the 3 questions the government is desperately trying to bury. But here's the thing. Big media won't cover this. Why? Because half of them are funded by the same billionaire networks. So if you want the full truth, you need to watch every single minute. 1.3 million soldiers, 0 paychecks, government shutdown, total chaos. Then boom, mystery billionaire drops $130 million on the Pentagon's desk. Anonymous donor, no questions asked. Money accepted in hours. Media celebrates. American hero, they say. Patriot, they call him. But when they reveal his name, everything changes. This isn't charity. This is a hostile takeover of American democracy, and I'm going to prove it to you with documents they thought you'd never see. Minute 8:30, I show you his actual political donations. The numbers will make you sick. Screenshot it, share it, because they're trying to memory hole this story right now. Let's set the stage. The year is 2025, and Congress has failed. Again, they couldn't pass a budget, triggering a federal government shutdown that would eventually stretch for weeks. But unlike previous shutdowns, this one hits the military particularly hard. Over 1.3 million active duty service members are classified as essential personnel, meaning they're required to report for duty, but they won't be paid until Congress acts. Think about that for a moment. A young Marine in North Carolina, an Air Force pilot in Nevada, a Navy cook on a carrier in the Pacific, all working, all protecting us, all with zero money coming in. Then, President Trump steps to the podium with an announcement. A great American patriot has stepped forward with $130 million to cover the shortfall. The Pentagon, under enormous political pressure, accepts the funds within hours using something called General Gift Acceptance Authority. But who is this mysterious benefactor? Enter Timothy Mellon, an 80-year-old retired railroad magnate worth an estimated $1.5 billion. If that last name sounds familiar, it should. Timothy is the grandson of Andrew Mellon, one of the wealthiest and most powerful men of the Gilded Age, who served as Treasury Secretary under 3 presidents. The Mellon family fortune, built on banking, oil, aluminum, and railroads, has shaped American infrastructure and finance for over a century. Museums, universities, and foundations bear their name. They are American royalty in everything but title. And now this heir to one of America's great fortunes has written a check to pay our soldiers. But before we continue, you need to understand why this man, specifically, writing this check changes everything. Keep watching, because in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you his shocking political donation record that makes this $130 million look like something else entirely. On the surface, this looks like an act of pure generosity, a billionaire stepping up when the government failed. The Pentagon praised him, conservative media hailed him as a hero, social media exploded with gratitude. But let's do the math, and this is where it gets insane. The annual military payroll runs into the hundreds of billions of dollars. A typical 2-week pay period costs approximately $4 billion for active duty personnel alone. Timothy Mellon donated $130 million. That's roughly 3% of one pay cycle. Now watch this. $130 million divided by 1.3 million service members equals $100 per person. $100. A Marine on the front lines gets $100. A Navy SEAL protecting our coastlines gets $100. A pilot flying $100 million fighter jets gets $100. This isn't a rescue. This is a PR stunt. And here's the part that should make your blood boil. While military families are rationing food and missing rent payments, this billionaire just bought himself the best political publicity money can buy for a fraction of what it actually costs to solve the problem. But it gets worse. So much worse. Because that $130 million isn't just money. It's leverage. It's influence. It's a down payment on something much bigger. What I'm about to show you next will make you question everything you think you know about how our government actually works. And spoiler alert, it's already illegal. They just don't care. Keep watching. Okay, buckle up, because what I'm about to explain is the smoking gun that proves this entire thing might be criminal. There's a law. Most Americans have never heard of it, but it's one of the most important pieces of legislation protecting our democracy. It's called the Antideficiency Act, and here's what it says. No federal agency can spend money that Congress hasn't explicitly approved. None. Zero. Not a single dollar. Now you might be thinking, okay, so what? That sounds boring. But here's why this law exists. The Founding Fathers set up our government with 3 branches for a reason. Congress, your elected representatives, control the money. This is called the power of the purse. Why? To prevent dictators. If a president could just fund whatever he wants without Congress, we wouldn't have a democracy. We'd have a monarchy. The Antideficiency Act is the legal weapon that enforces this. Break it, and you can be fired, fined $5,000, imprisoned for 2 years. This isn't a suggestion. This is federal criminal law. So here's the problem that's making Pentagon lawyers sweat right now. By accepting Timothy Mellon's $130 million to pay military salaries, they may have just committed a federal crime. Now, the Pentagon's defense is they have something called General Gift Acceptance Authority. And technically, yes, they can accept donations. But here's the catch, and pay attention because this is where they got caught. That authority was designed for extras, a new hospital wing, a memorial, new gym equipment, not salaries. Salaries aren't extras. Salaries are the government's constitutional obligation. That's literally the most basic function of government, paying the people who work for it. Think of it this way. Acceptable gift. Here's $1 million for a new veterans hospital. Illegal. Here's $130 million to pay soldiers because Congress won't. See the difference? One is a supplement, the other is a replacement of congressional authority. But wait, it gets shadier. Pentagon rules say any gift over $10,000 requires an ethics review. They have to investigate. Does this donor have government contracts? Are they involved in any lawsuits against the government? Could this donation influence procurement decisions? Is there any conflict of interest? Timothy Mellon's identity was kept secret for days. Congress couldn't investigate him. The media couldn't ask questions. The American people were kept in the dark. When the government takes money in secret, that's not transparency. That's corruption waiting to happen. And here's the kicker I promised. At minute 8, I'm going to show you Timothy Mellon's political spending. And when you see those numbers, you'll understand why they wanted to keep this quiet. Don't you dare click away. But let's say, for argument's sake, that the Pentagon's legal interpretation is correct. Let's say this donation is technically allowed under some obscure provision in the law. Even if it's legal, the bigger question is it right? Should the United States military, the most powerful fighting force in human history, ever be dependent on the generosity of private billionaires? Think about the precedent this sets. Scenario 1. A future administration wants to fund a controversial border wall, but Congress refuses. A sympathetic billionaire donates $500 million to build it anyway. Scenario 2. Congress denies funding for a covert intelligence operation in a foreign country. A wealthy defense contractor with business interests in the region donates to fund it privately. Scenario 3. The State Department wants to open new embassies, but Congress blocks the appropriation. Foreign governments or American billionaires with overseas investments donate to make it happen. Do you see the problem? Once we accept the principle that private money can substitute for congressional appropriations, we've fundamentally broken the constitutional system. We've created a backdoor for the wealthy to fund government operations that the American people, through their elected representatives, have explicitly rejected. This isn't governance, this is oligarchy. And there's another deeply troubling dimension to this. What does it mean for military loyalty? Our service members swear an oath to the Constitution, not to a president, not to a political party, and certainly not to a billionaire donor. Their salaries are supposed to come from the American people through the democratic process as a symbol that they serve all of us. But when a private citizen cuts a check to pay the troops, it creates a psychological and symbolic debt. It creates the appearance, however unintentional, that the military now owes something to that individual. Military ethicists have warned about this for decades. The armed forces must remain politically neutral and financially independent. The moment military funding becomes tied to private interests, we risk politicizing the one institution that must remain above politics. Now here comes the part I promised you at the beginning. The political money trail that proves this was never just about helping troops. Don't go anywhere. So we have to ask, why did Timothy Mellon do this? On one level, maybe he genuinely wanted to help military families. Maybe he saw suffering and responded with compassion. That's the charitable interpretation. But Timothy Mellon isn't just any billionaire. He's one of the most politically active megadonors in America. In the 2024 election cycle alone, Mellon donated over $150 million to Republican candidates and causes, including massive contributions to Trump's campaign and super PACs supporting the president. He's poured money into border security initiatives, conservative think tanks, and candidates who align with his libertarian-leaning political philosophy. This isn't his first rodeo with using wealth to influence policy, so when Timothy Mellon writes a $130 million check to pay the military during a government shutdown caused by a political standoff between the president and Congress, we have to consider the possibility that this isn't just charity. This is a political statement. This is Mellon saying, when the government fails, people like me can fix it. We don't need Congress. We don't need compromise. We just need billionaires with the right priorities. And here are the questions we should all be asking. Quid pro quo. What does Timothy Mellon expect in return? Will his businesses receive favorable treatment in future government contracts? Will his policy preferences get special consideration? Access. Has this donation bought him greater access to the President, the Secretary of Defense, or other high-ranking officials? Influence. When the next budget battle happens, will Mellon's opinions carry extra weight because he saved the military? We don't have answers to these questions yet, and that's exactly the problem. When government funding is transparent and appropriated by Congress, we can see where every dollar comes from and where it goes. When a billionaire secretly donates $130 million, we're left guessing about the strings attached. This Timothy Mellon donation isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a much larger, more disturbing trend in American politics: the rise of billionaire influence in government functions. Over the past 2 decades, we've seen private prison companies running detention facilities, charter school billionaires reshaping public education policy, tech moguls funding NASA missions and space exploration, pharmaceutical executives influencing health policy through massive donations, defense contractors essentially writing their own oversight rules. Each case follows the same pattern. A public function that should be democratically controlled gets increasingly dependent on private wealth. And with that dependence comes influence, preferential treatment, and the slow erosion of democratic accountability. Timothy Mellon's $130 million donation is just the most brazen example yet. It's the moment when a billionaire didn't just influence military policy, he literally paid military salaries. If we accept this as normal, if we shrug and say, well, at least the troops got paid, we're surrendering a fundamental principle that our government, and especially our military, must be funded by and accountable to the American people, not to whoever has the biggest checkbook. So where does this leave us? The military families got some temporary relief, though far less than they needed. Timothy Mellon got glowing press coverage and political goodwill. The president got to look like a problem solver while Congress remained gridlocked. But what did America lose? We lost a piece of our democratic foundation. We normalized the idea that private wealth can substitute for public appropriations. We opened the door to a future where the government's basic functions are funded by whoever is willing to pay. And that should worry all of us, regardless of political party. The question at the heart of this story isn't about Timothy Mellon's generosity or his political views. It's about what kind of country we want to be. Do we want a democracy where government is funded transparently through elected representatives? Or do we want an oligarchy where billionaires decide which government functions deserve their support? Do we want a military that serves the Constitution and the American people? Or one that becomes symbolically indebted to wealthy donors? These aren't hypothetical questions anymore. Timothy Mellon's $130 million check has forced us to confront them. The legal challenges are ongoing. Congress is investigating. Ethics watchdogs are sounding alarms. But ultimately, the answer won't come from courts or committees. It will come from us, from whether we accept this as the new normal, or whether we demand that our government remain of the people, by the people, in forma. Not of the billionaires, by the billionaires, et par des billionaires. This has been the story of how $130 million exposed the fault lines in American democracy. Remember, in a republic, vigilance isn't optional, it's our duty.
Thanks for watching. Share this video and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more untold global stories only on Next Level Studio. This is Victor, signing off. See you again.